bits I'm cutting out, and I'm going to explain a few things about why we're doing things in the weird way that we're doing them, because this is a bit of a weird... Oh, it is past 7:30 now. I could explain really why we're going to do things in the weird way that we are going to do them. Now, you've gone mad for this book. I don't know why. You just absolutely love it, which I'm chuffed to bits with. But because of the way that the book is, like, it's not traditional in the sense of flaps and you know, decorating it in the way that you choose, we have to be quite specific about how we cut the paper, because what I did earlier was this piece, this Alice 12 by 12 here, I haven't opened that yet. I've got my book, which we'll go through again in a minute, and this is what I cut up so that I could show you just how much we actually need and how much is going to be left over. So what I want to do tonight is actually prep the book so that next week what we can do is get on and make it, because we have to cut in a specific way. Otherwise, you're not going to have the bits that you need to make the book in the same way that I have, if that makes sense. So this isn't a book where you get lots of opportunity to do your own thing. However, having said that, evening Anne, evening Beatrice, is Shelley here? Because Shelley said that she got some 6x6 papers and she was going to try it in cardstock. But I am really, really, really intrigued to see this. So there's no reason at all why you can't... you can't... Sorry, I forgot what I was going to say now. There's no reason why you can't use other papers to do this. I'm not sure how it would look, but I'm really excited to see. Yeah, anyway. Who was just saying about the goat keeps going out of focus? Carla, I bet you that's because of this dotty paper. Let me turn it over. It doesn't help when looking at it on my screen, because I'm looking at it on my... Celia, I will phone you directly we've finished. Sorry. We've been missing each other today, haven't we? Yeah, so the way that we cut it has to be quite specific. You absolutely can do this with other papers, because it's simply an accordion book. It is really as simple as that. But there's all the bits that kind of add on to it, like the pop-up bits, which is why I'm saying, if you're using Alice, if you've got the kit, I'm really sorry, guys, but if you want it to look like mine, you're going to have to be quite specific. There isn't a lot left over. So, right. Yes, waste not, want not. So what I want to do tonight is I want to look at our pattern papers and I want to start cutting out. You're going to have to love fussy cutting to do this book. It's as simple as that. I'm afraid. So, let's get started. The one thing that I'm going to tell you a little story before we start. Oftentimes when we're doing a class, you can hear the birds outside. Well, we had a little bit of an incident yesterday. And Ruby, my ginger girl, was out in the garden, and she's quite old and she's not particularly well, and she's certainly not bouncy and young as cats go. She likes to sleep and just roll around in the sunshine. You know, she's happy just being still, and she's never been a hunter. She's just not interested. Anyway, she was out in the back garden just having a bit of a stretch yesterday in the sunshine, and I was packing up parcels and I could hear this commotion going on in the back garden, and I'm thinking, what on earth is going on? There's something not right here, and these two birds were making this almighty racket. I went outside and there were these two magpies dive bombing Ruby, and she was looking at me like, what the heck's going on here? I'm not doing anything. She'd wandered onto the grass from the patio, and she was just like stood there. Anyway, these birds were dive bombing her, so I thought, okay, right, this isn't on. So I brought her inside. And then when I brought her inside and I looked outside, I could see this baby magpie wandering on the side of the garden by the bushes. It's big. It's not a little tiny chick. It's a, you know, it's almost fully grown. It's a big baby. It's got all of its feathers, the colouring. It's obviously just trying to learn to fly, but it hasn't quite got it yet. So Ruby was obviously going to investigate, and the parents were, you know, not impressed. So this was yesterday afternoon. This chick now lives in the bush outside the window here in the craft room, and its parents have come back today and found it, and they've fed it, but he's being noisy, and the parents, it's going dark again, so I don't know where the parents have gone, and I feel so responsible for this chick. I can't tell you, I feel awful. It is massive, but we can't catch it to put it somewhere high because it keeps scampering away as soon as we see it. But if anybody knows anything, I mean, yes, it's a wild bird, it's a magpie. To be honest with you, I'm not keen on magpies anyway. But I feel so responsible for this chick. But he's so flipping noisy. So I'm just warning you that if you hear a commotion outside, he's shouting for his parents. So if anybody's got any bright ideas what I can do for this poor little baby, will you let me know? Because it's bothering me a lot. So let's get on. Christy, you're not late at all. I've been rabbiting for half an hour. So here's the book. Do you want to go and have a look at it again? We've got a lovely charm made by Mel on the side there. The book measures 4 inches by 6 inches by 1.5 inches. And it has got a cover where we have used some fussy cutting and some of the chipboard pieces, and we're going to layer those up. Okay. Inside, what we've got here is we've got the book, which is 2 accordion books essentially. So we've got 1 on each side here. This accordion side pulls out. We've got pages where I've done some fussy cutting and just added some of the images from the papers. And then here, what we've got is, and we're going to do this next week, is we're going to use some of our papers to make these little pages. So what we've got here for each of the accordions is we've got this bit here, which is accordion folded, and then this bit at the end, which is accordion folded. And then in between, we've got this fancy fold here. Which I'll show you how to make next week, and we've attached that so that we've got some little pockets, and that is the same on both sides. But pardon me, we do have some pop-up elements, and we're going to keep it super simple because that's the best way always. We've got this little knave of hearts here. He's a little pop-up character. We've got this heart here, which is a pop-up. And then we've just got things like the page here. Same over the other side. We've got our cards. We've got the cat popped up. We've got paper folded, you know, just to make some interesting texture. Little pop-up bit there with some cut out fussy cut bits here. And then once again, as I said, we've got this middle bit, which is the rabbit. And when we open it up, we've got those extra bits there. So if you did want to put any journaling or photos in, that would be the place to do it, I think. And then we've got this accordion bit at the end. So let's get started. Okay. Right. So what I think we should do is go through the actual 12 by 12 papers. So if you open up your sheet, your pack, we're going to rough cut what we need, and then I'll tell you which bits to fussy cut and which bits are going to be left over. So we have got our cover sheet here. Okay, I want you to take that off, and the first thing that I want you to do is we've got Alice here in the corner, and this curiouser and curiouser bit there. And I'm just going to rough this at the moment. And I want you to just rough cut that image. Okay? And I want you to put it to one side. There are other images here that we're going to need, but not this very second. So we might put the rest of that to one side. Okay? Because we will come to things like these bits, we'll come back and fussy cut those in due course. But I want you to just put that to one side for the moment. Let me just check I haven't cut any more out of it. Yep, so there was the one that I did. I'm just making sure as I go through that I'm doing the same thing because I know this one's right. Okay, so what you will see as well is at the back of this is what I've used to cover the inside of my book. You'll see it here. You know, that's the red hearts that I've used there. So we need to keep some of this to one side without cutting it up at the moment. Okay, right, our next page is Alice and the tail. Right, take that off, and I want you to cut out this whole bit of the tail, and I want you to cut out these two bits here. So I'll show you that you don't have to do it perfectly, you don't have to be tidy, because at the moment this is rough, just so we know what we need to do. Okay, so what I've got here is I've got the tail, I've got these two bits here, and I'm going to want to cut those out separately because those actually go on the front of our book when we're finished. So I'm going to put my tail to one side there, and I'm going to put those two bits together, and I'm going to put those there. Okay, now let me just check that that was all that I cut out of that bit. Yeah. Okay, so at the moment we don't actually need that Alice shape, so we're going to put her to one side. So out of that page, that's all we need, so put that to one side. Our next page is the white rabbit. I want you to take that off, and I want you to put this whole page to one side. We are not cutting that page at all at this point. Okay, so our next page are these 6 cut aparts, and what I want you to do is I want you to grab your trimmer, and I want you to cut it in half that way, so you're going to end up with 3 cut aparts and 3 cut aparts on one line. So let me grab my trimmer and I'll show you what I mean. Everything's attached. So I'm just going to rough cut this at the moment. We'll cut it down to proper size later, but I'm just going to cut that in half like that. Okay, this page, the one with Alice behind the curtain, the rabbit and Alice the other way, that is going to form part of our accordion base, so I want to put that to one side. That leaves us with these 3. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut them into 3. This piece with this white rabbit on, with the black outline, I'm going to cut round the black outline. That actually forms this back of our book here on the front page. Okay, so I'm going to put that to one side. This is my fussy cutting pile here. This one, I actually want the outline of that frame. So what I'm going to do, just to remind me, is I'm just going to quickly just rough cut around the outside, so that when I come back I know that I need to cut that out properly. Okay, because I need that frame, because that is going to form part of our cover as well. So I'm going to put that to one side. This bit, you don't need it. I'm going to actually let you throw that away because I'm nice like that. Now we've got our Alice here. We have to cut this into 3 parts. We want that Wonderland. Now you'll notice that that Wonderland actually goes over Alice's feet. So we need to cut that as close to Alice's feet as possible. Okay, just like that. And I'm going to put that to one side. I'm going to need Alice but I'm going to be very careful where I cut out here, because this bit of writing here, which is actually one of my favourite bits of the whole book, where Alice is talking, she's at the beginning, and she's her sister's reading to her, and she says, "What is the use of a book without pictures or conversations?" And that has been with me, that phrase, all of my life, and I love it. So that's quite an important phrase for me. So what I'm going to do, actually these scissors aren't best for this, I need my fussy cutting scissors, hang on. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to carefully just cut round Alice's dress there, so that I can save most of that writing. So I'm going to come back and fussy cut Alice, but here, what I've got, I'm just going to put those to one side for 1 minute. What I've got is that bit of writing there. And when you look at the front cover of our book, you'll see that that goes there, and that's our Alice. Okay? Right, so that's that page dealt with. Our next page is this one, and there's a lot of fussy cutting to be done here. So let's take it off our booklet. And what we're going to do first is, you see here where it says Alice's Adventures in Wonderland, we want that bit. Be careful where you're cutting here, because we need that bit about orange marmalade. So I'm going to cut just up to there where it says Alice's Adventures. I'm just going to rough cut that at the moment, so that I'm careful with this edge where I've cut it, and I've got that. And now I'm going to cut out this bit where it talks about orange marmalade, because we need that a little bit later on. And that leaves us this page. Now, this page is interesting because pretty much, oh, we need this bit here as well, where it says orange marmalade at the top there. So just rough cut that at the moment, that bit. Okay. So what we've got left over here are all of these red roses, which we need to fussy cut, and we need to fussy cut the leaves as well. So I'm just going to rough cut at the moment. That is going to be fussy cut. Those leaves there will be fussy cut. And then for the time being, I'm just going to put that to one side. I might fussy cut that key as well. And I'm going to put this on my fussy cut pile, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back and I'm going to cut out as much of that as I can. Okay, so that's going onto one pile. You all right? Are you all right so far? Yeah? Okay, so our next page has got all of these lovely cutter parts on it. So I'm going to take that and I'm going to rough cut out the bits that I need. Okay, so I need this page. That actually forms one of the pages in our book once we've finished. So I'm just going to rough cut that. Our Knave of Hearts down here. I am just going to rough cut him out at this point. That leaves us with these two book plates, which we will need to fussy cut. So they're going on my fussy cut pile. And I've got my 3 tags. Those pop into our pockets when we make those. So those are going to be fussy cut. So I'm going to put those to one side. And now we've got these 2 bookmarks. Now we have to cut these into some bits as well. All right. I'm cutting that across there because I want both of these tops. Sue, don't worry, I'm going to come back to it. I'm just showing you what I'm cutting at the moment, but I will come back to bits. So I've got those 2 bits. And here I've got these 2 little phrase quote bits, they're separate. And bizarrely, we don't need this, so I'm going to put that to one side. Right. Our next page, this wonderful image here, this is going to form one of our accordion pages in the book. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this down to size now, because there are other bits that I need to fussy cut. So I'm going to grab my trimmer. And the first thing that I'm going to do is I am going to cut off this strip at the bottom that has got all of the cups on, the tea party image here. And I'm going to put that to one side because I'm going to cut out each of these images separately. I'll turn my paper round and I'm just going to cut just underneath here because I need that image. So I'm just going to cut round that at the moment. Just rough cut that and put it to one side. This bit I'm putting in my I don't need pile at the moment. That leaves us these bits. Okay. This image here, the writing, there was a table set out under a tree. We need that. So the first thing that I'm going to do is just trim that down. So that what I've got here is my writing. I'm just going to roughly trim that and put it to one side. That leaves this whole image here, okay? The whole image of Alice having the tea party with the Mad Hatter. And I'm going to put that to one side because we're not going to be making the pages tonight, but that is going to form one of our pages, okay? So we've got that as a page and we've got that as a page, and we're putting those to one side. Our next set of pages are all of these teapots. And all I'm going to do at the moment with these teapots is I'm going to cut them in half. So the same as we did earlier with the cutter parts, I'm simply slicing it in half so that I've got two sets of teapots, and I'm putting those to one side because they form part of our accordion pages. Don't worry if you're not keeping up, you can go back and watch this as often as you like, and I'm going to actually do a lot of the fussy cutting tonight so that you can watch me. Okay, so it'll become clearer. All right, you can always catch up when I'm doing that. So you're going to like this next page. This is the tea party page. We're going to put that whole page to one side. We're not going to be doing anything with that at the moment. So our next page, we've got Alice, the Cheshire Cat, and I know I've said this before, but I'm going to say it again because, you know, cat. The Cheshire Cat was a British Shorthair because British Shorthair cats smile. And I can absolutely confirm, having 3 British Shorthairs, that this is 100% true. They smile. Even when they're grumpy. So, this page. There's a little bit of cutting out to do here, okay? We need Alice. I think we need Alice. Let me just double check. Yeah, we need Alice. So I'm just going to rough cut Alice and put her to one side. And I'm going to rough cut the cat because I'm not doing Alice without the Cheshire Cat. So I'm rough cutting the Cheshire Cat and I'm putting him to one side. Now, this bit we need for our heart, the pop-up heart that we're going to make. But this bit here, I'm mad, you're mad. How do you know I'm mad, said Alice. You must be, said the cat, or you wouldn't have come here. Those 1, 2, 3, 4 lines, we need to cut that out. Okay, so I'm just going to rough cut it. So those 4 lines here about being mad, that we're going to put on our fussy cutting pile, which leaves us all of this left over, but we need that for our hearts, so we're going to put it to one side. Okay, we're nearly there. this page. That just leaves our cards and this dotty page. Put the dotty page to one side. So now what we've done is we've gone through all of our paper. Our cards, to do this bit, hang on, we need 16 cards, okay? So, as it happens, and this is luck rather than judgment, there's 16 cards here on 2 lines. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my trimmer. I'm just going to cut 1, 2 lines of cards for that sort of drop down movie about bit. But we also, yeah, the dangly bit, thanks Mark. But we also need some more. So I'm just going to cut out, I'm just going to cut strips of a couple more lines at this moment. And I'm going to put this piece to one side because as it happens right this very second, we don't need it. Okay. So basically what we've done now is we have taken our paper together, apart, decimated it, thanks Mark, yeah, totally destroyed it. And what we've got here are the pages that we're going to just keep safe. So this is what we're going to cover our book with. This is the very, very back page. Hi Jean, hi Alison. Hi Dawn. We've got this page, which we've already part cut, but we need that for the hearts. We've got this full page, which is going to form a page in our book. We've cut these 2 cutter parts apart with the teapots on. We've got this cutter part. We've got our cut down Alice Tea Party. A full page of the White Rabbit. Just that left over of the long tail page and that of the front page, okay? So what we're going to do with those is we are putting them to one side for next week, okay? These are the bits that I don't need at all, but I'm just going to keep them because I don't throw anything away until I've finished a project, because you never know where you might like to slot something into. So really, this is a book with very, very, very little waste, okay? So I'm putting that to one side. So this little pile here is what I've got to fussy cut, okay? So I'm just going to grab what's in front of me and just pick it up and cut it how it needs to be cut. I would suggest that you get yourself a plastic bag or something to put the bits in as you finish them. So I did have one earlier, probably lost it. Hang on, there's some up here. Right, so I've just got a plastic bag, and what I'm going to do is as I fussy cut the pieces and they're ready to be put into my book, I'm going to just pop them into a bag. Obviously you've got the outside clear bit of the paper pack, but you need somewhere safe to put these bits in that we had earlier. So I'm just going to pop those in first so that they're safe and out of the way. And now we're going to get on with the fussy cutting. Okay, Dawn, it'll be in the group. It just stays in the group. And what I'll do is I'll tag it. I'll tag it as Alice. So if you go into Paper Scissors Story, you'll see at the top of the group, there's like a list of topics. And if you look at Alice, it will be in there. Okay, so let's start with the easy stuff. Here, I've got my White Rabbit. And I've got my cut apart with the black edging. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to cut around, not perfectly, it doesn't matter. I'm just going to cut around that. Now, I don't know if you noticed, but I managed to stalk my supplier today, and I've actually got hold of some of the Alice Gold and some of the chipboards as well. So hopefully they will be with me. What day is it? Wednesday. They won't be with me until probably Monday. But they're in the shop next week. All the new Stramperia that's available will be up. So that is the Sweetie, Princess Hortensia, although I'll fight for that one because it's lovely. And the Alice Gold will be available. So watch out early next week because they'll be up in the shop. The other releases aren't out yet, so we'll have to wait for those. Okay, so all I've done is I've just quickly fussy cut around that, and I'm going to put that into my bag. Okay. Knave of Hearts. I'm going to cut all the way around him. He actually forms one of our pop-up pieces. I'm concentrating because I know my tongue's between my teeth. I'm glad Mark's got his back to me at the moment.
I can hear your tongue.
You can, I'm sure you can. You can hear me thinking. Okay, just round that corner. So I've got that piece that I've just cut round, nice and easy. That's going in my bag for later. Okay, let's do the easy stuff, shall we? These two. Wonderland is better when you are completely lost. These are going on the front of our book. So I'm just going to cut those out just around the edge. Oh, you can hear that baby now.
Yeah.
Oh,
Baby,
I feel so responsible for him. I don't know what to do. I think he's capable of flying. I just think he's a bit chicken. He's had a bit of a scare. He's really big.
He's huge.
Don't know what to do. Okay. So I've cut round those two pieces. Wonderland is better when you are completely lost. And I'm just going to pop that into my bag. This bit, the I'm mad, you're mad bit, that bit of writing, you know what? I'm not going to cut that at this point because we'll just cut it too small and lose half the bits. So I'm going to pop that in my bag. Also, this one, there was a table set out under a tree. This was from underneath our Alice and the Mad Hatter Tea Party picture. I'm popping that in there as well because I'm not cutting that at this point. So here's another nice big one that we can cut round. This is one of the cut aparts, Alice, the Red Queen and the Knave, and I'm just going to cut around the outside of that as well. Now the nice thing about this pop-up book and it being a bit shabby is that our cutting out, fussy cutting, does not have to be perfect, which is quite a nice thing, I think. So I'm just going to cut around that. Hopefully, if you're lagging a bit behind, this bit will give you will give you a bit of a chance to catch up. Okay, so I've just cut around the outside of that, and I'm going to pop that into the bag. Everybody's having trouble with internet at the moment. You're not alone, Karen. Peggy's having trouble. But yeah, don't worry about the class. It will be there. Okay, let's grab book plates. Let's cut those out. There's a red one and a black one. I'm just going to cut round the outside of them. Somebody asked me once about fussy cutting and how I do it, and I it's not something I've ever consciously thought about.
You stick your tongue out.
So yeah, you've got to stick your tongue out between your teeth. That's very important to show your level of concentration. And then you'll notice that I'm left-handed, except when I cut out, because I'm cut right-handed, because I'm weird like that. But what I tend to do is actually move my paper as opposed to my scissors, but you need a really, really, really good sharp pair of scissors to fussy cut. And in my opinion, the smaller ones tend to be the better for this. Okay, so I'm just cutting around this book plate. This is going to be thrilling watching, I'm sure. Not. Okay, so that's one of my book plates done, so that's going in my bag.
Are those scissors Fiskars?
Yeah, these are Fiskars, yeah. And now I'm going to cut... Oh, you're a good lad. There's some We Are Memory Keepers ones in the shop as well that are rather good. Just depends on which you prefer. So I'm just cutting out the red book plate now. And these papers are very forgiving because of the design. So whilst I'm cutting, tell me guys, which of the new releases from Stramperia do you like the best? I can't wait for the Winter's Tale. And I'm telling you now, we will be doing a book with it. I don't know what yet, but we will, because I just like it. It was a jaw-dropping moment for me. Those papers are what I've been waiting for my whole life. So I can tell you we will be doing something with that, but what I don't know. Right, red book plate. That's cut out. That's going into my little bag of goodies. Let's do this one now. It's always tea time. This is going to be a pop-up. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to cut around the edges of this, and because it's got some quite fiddly bits in it, I'm just going to kind of cut around the edges. We don't have to be what's the word I want? I know what the word is that I'm thinking, but it's not a word I can use in public. You don't have to be too caught up on getting this right. So just cut around the edges here. I tend to leave, you know, when it's quite an intricate design, just a little bit of an edge. Around. But yeah, the ones that are out now are Alice Gold, Sweetie, Princess, Hortensia, and there's another one which I didn't buy because it was a bit too... It wasn't something that I thought was really my style. Okay, so if you can see this one, I've just cut roughly around the edges, but it looks vaguely tidy. All right, so that's going into my bag. That's done. Right, we've got Alice. This is the one where Alice was talking to the Cheshire Cat, and I'm just going to cut around the edge of her. Can't even remember where this one goes. In the book somewhere. So anybody else got any good tips for fussy cutting? Or as we British like to say, cutting out? I think fussy cutting is quite an American term that we've adopted. But yeah, we say cutting out. So, yes, any other tips and tricks? I used to hate it. Oh my goodness, I can't tell you how much I hated doing it. I just did. But I think I've come to understand what an amazing difference fussy cutting can make to a design, a book, a layout, whatever it is. And I think that knowing what a difference it can make, I've actually come to love it. It is therapeutic. I know a lot of people do it in front of the TV. I did try that once, and all that happened was I made a complete mess. There was bits of paper everywhere. But then again, Mark will tell you there's nothing new in that. Okay, getting there. Right, let's go around his shoes. Okay, we're going to throw that away. I'm going to let you because I'm nice. So we've got that Alice, and I'm just going to pop her into my bag. And here's the Cheshire Cat. Let's do the Cheshire Cat. Make sure you do his tail. So let's cut out the Cheshire Cat. Hi, Rizwana. I don't know where our Cheshire Cats are. Well, I know where one of them's just been. Yes. Yeah, so in the bathroom. But I don't know. I haven't seen them for a bit. I can't remember how much of this I cut out. Let's have a look. Oh yeah, there we go. Cut around this branch. I think I'll just go back actually and cut it there. Yeah, try and get a bit of the branch in if you can. Doesn't matter if you don't. Ooh. Okay, that can go in the bin. So there's my Cheshire Cat. He's going in my bag. What have we got here? Wonderland is better when you're completely lost. Story of my life. Let's just cut round that. Pop that in my bag. And what is the use of a book without pictures or conversations? How very apt for us. Is anybody planning on putting photos in this? What are you actually going to use it for? Or are you just going to make it because it's fun to make? Right, these two bits. We're just going to cut these out. So just cut round them. If the printing's done right, which as I recall Stramperia are very good at, this will become double-sided. Look at that. That is quality printing, that is. So there's the red one. I'm going to do the blue one, green one, bluey green one, teal. Okay, so I've cut those out. They're going in my little bag. Here, these are the 3 tag shapes from our cutter parts. So I'm just going to cut those. Oops. So there's one tag. My King of Hearts. He's being cut out. Okay, so there's a tag with him on. He's going in my bag. And now my Queen of Hearts. She's being cut out. Okay. Now, we've got 4 strips here of our cards. I want you to put 2 strips into your bag without doing anything with them at this point, okay? Which leaves these. Now, what I want you to do is I want you to cut each of these cards out individually. I'm not going to do it right now. We'll see how much time we've got left. But, so you've got 2 away, and 2 I want you to cut out each card individually. We'll come back to that in a minute. So what have we still got left here? Let's have a look.
Bianca has asked, can I use the chipboard die cuts on this album?
Yes, I have done, Bianca. I've used the chipboard die cuts. There's some here that they're throughout the book. If you haven't got the chipboard die cuts, you can still absolutely do it without, but I have used them. Okay, this bit here, this cutout that says just orange marmalade, we're going to put that away into our bag as it is. I don't want to cut that at the moment. So, just going to grab this bit now that just says Wonderland here, and I'm going to try and cut that, because if you remember, Alice's feet were here just in the way. I'm going to try and cut it as rectangular as I can. So it just says Wonderland. I know there's a little chip out of the corner. It doesn't matter. And I'm going to pop that into my bag. Okay. This bit, Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. At this point, all I want to do is just rough cut around that, because that's the bit that I need, and I'm going to put that into the bag. This bit I'm going to put into my pile of bits I don't need but I don't want to throw away yet. Okay, what else have we got? We've got this bit, which is a frame, and we're going to fussy cut that frame. This is for our front cover. So where the frame is, it doesn't really matter which way round you do it. I'm just doing it this way because there's nothing on it, but you could do it either way. You're not going to see the rabbit. So I'm just going to cut that out and around. We won't see a lot of this, but it just adds a little bit of interest to the front. Okay, so I'm cutting around my frame. I'm not going around every bump perfectly. Don't need to. Okay, so I've got my frame. That's now going in my bag. That bit can go away. This little piece here, which if you remember was on one of the cutter parts, and it says about Alice sitting by her sister. I'm just going to cut round those actual words. leaving me a little piece like that. Just that Alice was beginning, and then sitting by her sister, nothing to do, the book and pictures. I've just cut that roughly round. Okay, that's going in my bag. Right, what else have we got here? We've got the long tail. Now, let me just grab my book, because I know that I cut this into 2 parts, and I just want to make sure that I cut it right. So let me pop that in front of me. This is for this page here. Bianca, that's another one of the chipboard pieces here, the chipboard die cuts. And what I've done here, because this is a bit of a pop-up bit, is I have cut it here. So it says a long tail. So that her idea of the tail was something like this. Fury said to a mouse that. That's the only bit that we need. And I want you to just kind of roughly cut round it, but close. So it looks a little bit like this. This does not have to be perfect. I don't want anybody to stress out about how perfectly this has to be done. It doesn't. I'm just cutting it to give it some shape. Okay? So you can see here, that's what I've cut. I'm going to pop that into my bag. That leaves me with the mouse's tail, which, looking at it, hold on, let me have a look. This bit, down to where he says we must have a trial, I'm putting that to one side because I don't need it. So this is the rest of the tail that I do want. So where it says for really this morning I've nothing to do, onwards to the rest of the tail, I want all of that bit, and I'm just going to cut round it in the shape of the tail. Okay, keep the curves. You can see there that I'm curving it round so it retains the tail shape. Okay. Okay, so there, I've cut that round, so I've still got the tail shape, the mouse's tail. It's just curvy, and I'm going to pop that into my bag. Right, what have we got left? We have got this piece, which we cut out, that's another orange marmalade piece. I'm just going to leave that as it is, and I'm just going to pop that into my bag. And here, this was off the front page, the front cover page, and I've got Curiouser and Curiouser and Alice behind the curtain. So I'm just going to cut that Curiouser and Curiouser out. Just straighten that up a little. So I've got that. That's going into my bag. And now I've got Alice behind the curtain. And I'm just going to cut round her. I am sure a lot of this is quite boring if you're watching, but I just want to go through with you. Normally I'd just say just go off and fussy cut it, but I know that it's probably easier for you to watch me do it and then just forward and, you know, reverse the bits that you need to. So I'm sorry this is a bit long-winded, because I wouldn't normally do it like this. But I figure for best results, you're going to have to put up with me rabbiting for a bit.
I can do that.
Well, you always have to. You get no choice. You're married to me.
Oh.
What do you mean, oh damn? I heard that.
Oh, I thought I only thought it.
No.
Sorry dear, I didn't mean it.
Right. Oh dear. Okay, nearly done.
Anne says she is glad you are showing.
Oh good.
I am as well.
Right, I'm cutting around this Alice and I'm cutting the curtain away from her because we don't need the curtain. The curtain's actually on the back bit that we're going to stick her onto in due course.
All will be revealed.
Yes, all will be revealed.
Except the curtain.
Except, well no, she does. There's a door behind it.
Oh yeah. I'll shoot.
Have you read it? I don't suppose it's a book that would ever have appealed to you.
I may have done.
That's all right. It's a great book. I've read it many, many times. In fact, I actually have a collection of Alice books. And one of my favourite books is one that I remember vividly from my childhood. My grandmother, my mum's mum, she had it in her bookcase. She lived up in the Lake District. And we visited as often as possible, and this book was always in the bookcase, and it was always my go-to book whenever we visited, and it was a huge part of my childhood, and I have it now, which is rather lovely, I have to say. In fact, I'll see if I can dig it out and show you next week. So there we go. So that Alice, remember this edge here, that's because that was the edge of our front cover, so she can go in our bag for next week. What have we got left? We've got, okay, leaves.
Diane says you couldn't Fussy cut that fast if her life depended on it.
I think I'm going really slowly.
You shut.
Never mind. I suppose it's because I've done loads, really, over the years.
Yes. Hence the 12-inch thick deep pile on the floor.
Yeah, I know. I need to sort that out. Right, so I'm just going to cut round the leaves. We need lots of leaves, but we'll come on to that page in a minute.
Well,
it's just because it was there.
To watch you do it, but she doesn't know if it's going to be so relaxing when she attempts it.
Okay, so of course it's relaxing. You've got to chill. You've got to enjoy this. Put me on for 3 seconds. Yeah, stick your tongue out a bit. Watch what I'm doing. Put it on pause. Do your bit. Put some good music on. Oh, fun. Okay, leaf. That's going in there. That's going in the bin.
Tell the husband to leave the room.
Yeah, well, I always tell my husband to leave the room. So I can't remember if I used this key or not, but I'm going to cut it out because why not? It's there. And then if I want it, it's done, isn't it? I honestly can't remember if I used it. We'll find out.
Until we start sticking it together.
Yeah, it's a lot easier than you think. This is incredibly easy. It might not look it, but it so is. You're gonna have no problems with this. Okay, key. That's going in my bag. Right here, I've got this strip that's got all the cups and the tea party bit on. So I'm going to cut out around that bit that says tea party. Oh.
Julia says she's been cutting the wrong Alice
out. Well, I don't know. I don't think you can cut the wrong Alice out. We're using all the Alices, more or less, I think. Which bit have you been cutting?
Oh, say, it's just appeared.
Okay, so I've got my tea party, that's going in my bag. And now I've got these cups. So I'm just going to cut those into 6. And I'm going to fussy cut those out. Which Alice have you been cutting, Julia? Hi, Sandra. Right, so I'm going to cut out my cups. Actually, there's some of these cups are die cuts. Oh, here's Storm. Here's Storm. She's now going to sit on my bag, isn't she?
Yeah.
Of course she is. Hello. Could I have my bag back? Just let me have the bag. Excuse me. Come on. Oh, just let me have the bag. Right, you sit down there now. Right. You sit there. That's the girl. Okay. Yeah, you're all right. Right, where was I? Okay. Right, I'm cutting out my cups. Yeah, there's some of these cups of chip. Wait, no, don't go. Oh, all right then. So I'm just going to cut around all of these cups. I haven't cut right to the edge. Don't know why. But I'm just going to cut each of these cups out now, these 6 cups from that strip.
She wasn't cutting the Alice from the front cover.
Well, no, we've got another Alice to cut out. We've got this Alice to cut out yet as well.
Holly's just appeared.
I'm just worried that you're cutting out one of the Alices from the strips that we're supposed to be keeping now. I'm just a bit worried, Julia. So tell me if you think you've cut out the wrong Alice and you haven't got a strip left for the actual accordion bit. Tell me. Have you gone quiet for, Storm? Oh no, she's purring again now. Yeah.
We just had a few people enter.
Okay. Right, so cut the rest of these cups. Now I want a cup of tea.
Oh yeah, you're making one.
No, not right this second.
Oh.
Did we decide what we're having for tea?
No. Everything else said no.
Oh, you said egg sandwiches, didn't you? No, I don't want egg sandwiches. Oh, well, you can have egg sandwiches.
Okay, I'll have egg sandwich.
Right.
Unless you have something that sounds like so.
I don't know. I'll have a look when we go downstairs. Soup and sandwiches would be nice. Or just soup, actually. Didn't Julie get us some lentil soup? What are you all having for tea? Give us some ideas. Or have you all had it?
I would imagine everyone had theirs.
We're not very good on Wednesdays and Thursdays. We never have ours until afterwards.
Larissa says you need to go for Alice-themed afternoon tea at one of the London restaurants.
Ah, well, apparently Wendy was telling me that in a town not far from here, Stoke, just a bit north, there is an Alice tea room, which when we are allowed out and about and everything's a bit back to normal, I think we should go and have an afternoon tea. I think that would be a great idea.
It'll be Boston.
Boston, yeah.
Boston.
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 Right, so that's my 6 cups cut out. So I'm
Beans
going to
on
pop
toast.
those. Oh no, I don't fancy beans on toast.
I do.
You do. I thought you wanted egg
I
sandwiches.
do.
Right, so now I've got this Alice. I'm going to cut her out. She was one out of the cutter parts, which is that one that I'm hoping that Julia has been cutting out.
Larissa says you'll have to show her some pictures from that tea.
Yeah, well, I think Wendy's got some. Is Wendy not still knocking about?
She is.
Wendy, you've got some pictures, haven't you?
Agreed with you. It's
I think.
amazing.
So maybe, can you put a link up to it in the group, Wendy, to the tea room, and then we can all have a look?
Mass booking.
Yeah, definitely. I'd be up for it. Who were we going with? There was you, me, Wendy, and who else? There was somebody else. Can't remember who it was. Oh, Tracy.
Oh yes, I found it. The Rabbit Hole Tea Room.
Yeah, that's the one. And as I recall, in Wales, is it in Llangollen, there is an Alice shop. And wasn't it Pat Griffiths, if you're about Pat, I don't know if you're here or not, you were saying about some statues around the town. Right, I've got this flower. I'm going to cut that out.
Karen is near Loughborough.
Oh, my sister used to live near Loughborough.
Where is she?
Have you gone back into lockdown? Because I know bits of Leicester have. I don't know if Loughborough's counted in that.
There's one in Eastman.
Oh, we're going to have to do a tour of Alice places in the UK.
Well, I've got my cake eating mouth on.
You've always got your cake eating mouth on, darling. Right. Okay, we are nearing the end.
Julia says she cut the one looking at the blue door behind the curtain that looks like a big playing card.
Right, so that was one of the cut apart sheets, yeah? So, here's my question for you, Julia. Hold on. Because I've lost mine. I'm guessing you've cut that one. So you don't have that strip anymore. So do you have another strip like that?
Sue Hare says has discovered you're near where I have things in Hensford.
Yes, we're in Hensford, right on the edge of Cannock Chase. Very lucky we are too. It's very beautiful here. Cannock Chase really is gorgeous, living right on the edge of a forest. It's just lovely. It really is. We're very, very lucky where we live. Be even better if they weren't building houses everywhere, but you can't have everything. Right, so I've just fussy cut that flower. That's going into my bag. So, what we've got left, or what we should have left, is this page full of roses and leaves, and we have got these 2 strips of, oh, pardon me, of cards. So, I'm just going to cut those up roughly.
Did you cut the leaves separate?
No, on the last one I've cut the leaves, I've left them on there, on that one. So when I'm fussy cutting, what I tend to do is just rough cut out what I need to cut out properly, and just make myself a pile of bits that I need to cut round properly, if that makes sense. I just find that works for me, and then I don't get lost. Okay, so I've got all of my cards there still to fussy cut, and I've still got this sheet here. So
She said no, the other leaves.
on here,
I'm not sure.
right, Because what I'm going to do now is I'm going to cut this out and I'm going to show you which bits I've cut. So I want to keep as many of the red roses as I can. So I'm going to rough cut round that one, which leaves me these leaves here. And I'm going to put those down because I'm going to fussy cut around those. And then I've got this big red rose here. That's got leaves attached to it. So I'm just going to rough cut around that like that, and I'll cut that all out in one piece. But here I've got some tiny leaves that I'm going to cut out, and I'm going to put that on my pile of bits I don't need but I might come back to. Okay. Then I've got this great big red rose here.
Can you go through the tail snake words in there?
I can. 2 seconds.
I think you best show them all again at the end anyway.
So I've got that. It's a fussy cut. I've got this white rose here and these leaves, which I'm just going to cut into 2. I've got this red rose here. Which leaves me these bits here. So I've got a white rose. Let's get rid of that. I've got a white rose and I've got those little leaves there. I've got a white rose here and more leaves. Don't be too precious about this. You just need leaves. Basically, you're just fussy cutting this, you know, however. And that leaves me with these bit here, which I'm going to cut just that bit round like that. And that is going to one side. Right, you wanted me to show you the mouse's tail. So, the mouse's tail, I've cut into 2 parts with the middle chunk missing, which is now gone onto our might use later pile. So I've got this bit. The tail snake words is these ones. Okay. So it goes from, "For really this morning I've nothing to do, said the mouse to the cur. Such trial, dear sir, with no jury or judge would be wasting our breath." So all the way down that's there from "For really this morning," that's the way that I've cut that out there. Okay. I will be taking photographs of this, which will go into the tutorial. I haven't written the tutorial yet because I have something exciting to show you. We have had a proper designed tutorial which has taken into account all the things that you've told me behind the scenes about what works for you and what doesn't. So you will see a big change in the way that the tutorials are written, but we're just fighting at the moment trying to make that come together properly. So that's why you haven't had one yet, but I will take photographs of each of these bits. And then the top bit is just the first 4 lines. So it's the title, a long tail. So that her idea of the tail was something like this: Fury said to the mouse, that. That's all that's on that one. Okay? Just those bits. And then the bit that goes in between, I've just put that on my pile of might, needs, probably won't. Okay, so now what I've got to do is just fussy cut all of these bits still out. So I'm only going to do a couple because you're not going to want to sit and watch me all night do it. So just as an example, my playing cards, I'm just cutting around the edge. So that they look something like that. I'll do another one for you. Let's just grab that one. Cutting around. Okay. And I'm cutting out 16 of these separately. And that's what's going to form our dangly bit, for want of a better description. Okay, so I'm going to cut those all out. With regard to the flowers, you really don't have to be particular about this. We're not even going to use them all. I just want to have a choice. Okay, so I'm just cutting roughly around the edges.
I'm going round the corner.
Yeah, I've cut the cards with a sort of a rounded corner, just to follow the design that's there. There's nothing to it. If you want an angular corner, have an angular corner. It's entirely up to you. You want a rounded corner. Oh, bless. Well, who's joining me tomorrow night in the Crafting Together group? Because we're going to be doing some rounded corners. Flipping heck, what a job. That was a joy, that was. All right, so you can see I've just cut round that rose as is. This one. I'm not being too fussy about how perfect this is, because I like to see a little bit of that blue around the edge, a little bit of that background. I'm not going to get caught up on this.
Kim has said, I've had to stop because I can't cut anymore. Must be 9 o'clock.
I know, look, I'm doing my finger in. Does anybody else's fingers go numb when you're fussy cutting a lot? Mine do. Terrible. It'll take a good couple of days as well to go. Right, so actually that is a good place to stop. So I've still got this little pile of bits here that I'm going to fussy cut, which I'll do before next Wednesday. And if you want to do another little job, you've got 2 pieces of grey board in your kit. You've got a thinner one and a thicker one. The thicker one just put to one side. You don't need to do anything with that. But the thinner one is what forms the cover of your book. And I've written down here that what we're going to have to cut for the cover is 2 pieces of this thinner chipboard at 4 by 6 inches and one at 6 inches by 1.5 inches. Okay, I'll pop that up in the group anyway. But if you want to cut those out, you can do. I'll do mine next week because it doesn't take me long to do it.
Die cut pieces, can we use those instead?
Your die cut pieces, you'll probably find you're using a lot of them. Shall I go through the book and show you where the die cut pieces are? Right, on the front, the die cut pieces that I've used, there is a small card and a large card. There is this little heart, sort of, it was a rectangle with a heart on it, and then that checkerboard background. And then in here, there's one of the, oh, is that a spade? No, it's the other one, a club. The club shape and the spade shape. So I've used those for the chipboard pieces. Inside my book, the first thing that you'll notice is that there is the chipboard white rabbit on the spine, inside spine of the book. Looking at the left hand piece first, I have used the die cut key. Inside here, there's none of the die cuts. Inside this bit, that is a die cut teapot, but that's one of the hand paper cut teacups. And as you can see here, we've got some of the hand cut flowers. Okay. This Eat Me is one of the die cuts. And then on this page here, we've got 2 of the chipboard die cut hearts. I don't know why they call them die cuts, because they're pieces of chipboard really. They're quite thick. Okay. Then on the other side, that Eat Me there, that's actually that's a die cut piece. And then both the teapot and cup, they're die cuts out of the chipboard die cuts. We've got these little chipboard pieces with the 4 card, you know, the spade, the hearts, the clubs. Those are all at the bottom of our dangly cards. These two here, we've got the spade and the club. They're die cuts. The Alice, this little Alice, is one of the die cuts. And on this page, the white rabbit is a die cut. These bits are bits that we've cut out. Okay, there's one of the die cuts there, one of the die cut flowers there, and then one of our fussy cut flowers.
Do you want to show your bag of bits that you cut out?
Yeah, will do. On the back here, those are the ones that we've just fussy cut. Here, there's a couple more of the chipboard cards. And I think those two are both chipboard bits, the cups. And then other than that, they're all bits that we have fussy cut. So, okay. So I'm going to finish fussy cutting those. In my bag, what have I got? Do you want me to go over it again? Full sheets of paper. I've got the white rabbit. I've got this tea party paper. And I've got this back sheet, which is what we're going to cover the book in. Okay, and they're the only full sheets that I've got left. So they're going in my bag. Thank you, Storm. Part sheets. I've got this one, which was Alice and the Cheshire Cat. We need this for our heart, our pop-up heart. I've got this Alice here. That was where the tail was, the mouse's tail. That Alice. And I've got this front cover piece, which most of that is going to form the inside of our book. Okay? So that's going in my bag for next week. Then I've got these pieces. I've got 4 here. And these are going to form the accordion part of our book. So I've got these 3 cutter parts of Alice and the White Rabbit. I've got the page that had all of the teapots and teacups on. I've cut that in half. So I've got both of those. And I've got what's left here of the Mad Hatter's Tea Party page with the bits that we've just fussy cut. They're not on there anymore, obviously. So those are going to form the accordion bits of our book. So they're going to go in my bag for next week. I've still got 2 strips of the cards. We will need to fussy cut those at some point, but not all of them. And we're going to make part of them into sort of like just like little mini accordion books. So we're going to put that into our bag for next week. We've got this large Alice die cut. This large Alice cutout, which is one of the cutter parts. That's going in the bag. We have got this, one of our cutter parts, the one with the black outside. I've just cut round that, and it's got the rabbit in the middle, and on the other side it's just blank. That's going in the bag. I've got the Knave of Hearts here, just cut round him. He's going in the bag. I've got this frame. Rabbit on one side, the frame on the other. That's going in the bag. I've got my mouse's tail. So the long tail bit there. Yeah, I've got the cat's tail as well. And then the other mousy bit, that's going in my bag. I've got Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. I've got the writing here. There was a table set out under a tree. That's off the Mad Hatter page. I've got this piece that says Orange Marmalade. And then I've got that piece that says Orange Marmalade. And I've got this piece, which we haven't cut out yet because I'm leaving it. And that's the bit about Alice saying, talking to the Cheshire Cat about being mad. Okay. And then I've got that little piece, which was Alice sitting by her sister. I have got these 2 book plates, the black and the red one. I have got 3 tags which I have cut out. Alice, the King and the Queen. I've got these 2 header parts which I've cut out. I've got a large Alice, a smaller Alice, and an Alice from the very, very front of the papers that's got that straight bit cut out there. So 3 Alices. Alice I. I've got the Cheshire Cat with a little bit of branch.
We can see her.
I've got another Cheshire Cat here. I wish you could see her, actually.
We can see 3 parts.
You can see bits of her. Oh, she. Oh.
Making fun of me.
She is making. She's asleep. I have got 6 teacups, all cut out. They're going in my bag. I have got this always tea time header and tea party. They're going in my bag.
Has done all the fussy cutting.
Ooh, I'm impressed. I've got these. Wonderland is better when you are completely lost. And what is the use of a book without pictures or conversations? And Wonderland is better when you're completely lost, all in one piece. I've got Curiouser and Curiouser. And I have got Wonderland on its own. And those are all going into my bag. I have got the key. Then here, I've got that flower that I've already fussy cut. And I've got that leaf set that I've already fussy cut. And then what I was doing earlier was just the odds and ends. Okay, so I've got a few of the cards. There'll be 16 of those by the time I finish fussy cutting. And then I've just got these bits that I've cut of the flowers, and I'll go back and finish those off. Okay, I hope that's helped. I'm going to switch off now, and I'm going to finish my fussy cutting because my finger has also gone to sleep. Look at that. Joyful, isn't it? And we will reconvene next Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. where we will put our book together. Start putting the book together. We'll put the cover together and we will make the pages up, some of which is going to be folded and cut, some of it is an accordion fold, and then we're going to start building the book up page by page. Okay, so hope that's helpful. If you need anything, just give me a shout in the group. You know, Mark and I will be knocking about and we'll be able to help you. So I'll take photographs of all of these bits as well so that you can use that as a guide. And I'm hoping that some of you will join me tomorrow night in the Crafting Together with All Brands group, where we are going to make the first part of our big office hours book. So I'll see you all next week, unless I see you tomorrow. Thank you very much for joining me, and we'll catch up soon. Bye.